Okay, guys, we'll start again. Till now, we have seen how routing is used or how middlewares are used for basically for routing in the application, right? We saw that. And right now, if I check at the localhost 8080 without anything, we are getting status page not found, as well as if we check inside of the network. Yeah, we are not sending any request, so it's not visible here. Okay, so let's see. Let's hit the same from the postman. The postman is the tool. Basically, we can use this tool to test our APIs that we write. Correct. So I'm hitting this, and if we hit this, we are getting status as a 404, which is not found. How we are getting that 404 is basically initially it will our request will get here app.use. In this middleware, our request gets processed, then it basically parse the data and makes it available to use in JSON, right? Then we are doing some files in the uploads folder as a static. Okay, then we are adding the headers for the request. If request is with the method options, we are sending them okay. Then we are checking for the routes. Those are defined by our route level middleware of Express, that is Express router. Okay, our route is nothing but the slash only, right? So it doesn't match with the any of this. That's why none of the functions from this list gets executed. Then it goes to here, that is if no route is matched by till now, it must be 404. We don't have any function or we don't have any middleware for that, and that's why we send the response as 404 page not found. Okay, that's why we can see here the status page not found. Okay, response dot send and response dot end, basically while sending any response, send is going to end that response with itself, and if we are sending only status and the JSON, it doesn't end the response. We need to we can end that response using end function. Okay, even after sending the response, when let's suppose if any request comes in, when it will get fulfilled or when it gets uh, completed, when we send the status and when we send the data, it gets completed, right? Okay, so let's before going into these functions and testing these routes, what we will do, we'll try to create, we'll look into more into like MongoDB, what is MongoDB and how it works and how we can use the queries for like adding data or getting the documents, how it is. Okay, so this is the MongoDB client that I'm using. You can install MongoDB from their website. Okay, and let's try to connect. Okay, so I got connected here. I'm having this table, sorry, I'm having this database. So here inside of database, the products is my collection. In like SQL database, we do have the tables and the rows, but in NoSQL database, we call it as the collection of documents. So we call this as a collection of document, and right now I am having only one document in that. As we say, the NoSQL or the schemaless, the MongoDB is the schemaless, right? In each document we can store any data. It is nothing like the columns or the fields of that document should be same. The documents are nothing but the JSON objects. Okay. Now um, let's try to yeah, how we can get all the documents using find. So the products is the my collection name, the db. Okay, db dot products dot find. If I fire this command on MongoDB, it gives me all documents from the products collection. If I wanted to find, let's add one more document. Let's try and add. Right click, insert document, and let's suppose we are having price and the name. Okay, so I'll have this, the name, as let's suppose watch, and the price for that is 5,000. And so basically this is the syntax while we add. Okay, for insert, the document is got added. Now we are having two documents here. Okay, also we can find this using like some condition. I can put condition like this, id, and with the so this is the type for the type for the properties. Those are string, numbers, and when we add any document, automatically MongoDB creates this property underscore id with type object id. So this is the type object id, and it contains the unique id in entire database. So this id will be unique in entire database. So we can use that id here, and we need to write like this. Okay, let me copy this edit document. Let's just okay, so we can find like this. Okay, if I wanted to remove, I simply say remove. We are not going to do that. Also you can do something like find one with this condition, so it will give me only one record. And if we do, so it is a object, direct object of that document. And if you do the find, it gives you the array, it gives you the array of objects. Right now we can't see here because the view is different. If we do something like, let's suppose remove this and do the, so this is the array of objects. Okay, Okay, so let's try to see the mongoose models, those models, how it works. Okay, so in mongoose, the models are like for creating, let's suppose for creating any collection or doing operation with any collection, we create the model, and based on that model we do the insert, remove, update, everything, all operations we do using models. Models are nothing, are the fancy constructors compiled from our schema. So that means from the mongoose schema definitions, and the instance of these models represent the documents which can be saved, retrieved from our database. All document creation and retrieval from the database is handled by these models, right? So models is the most important part. And how we create the model, this is the syntax for them, that we create first of all the schema for that model, mongoose dot schema, and inside of that we mention the JSON object, that is name will be the property, and that will be of type string, size again string, it could be number, it could be the object ID, like that. Okay, and when then we can like mongoose dot model the tank. Let's suppose this schema is for tank, so we are defining here actual the model mongoose dot model, the name is tank comma schema, this is the schema of this model. Okay, this schema, right? While constructing the documents, how we do that, it's very easy. The mongoose dot model, okay, we take that model in a variable, and then we assign the properties, like size is small, it's not necessary like I should mention the name as well. Even we they do have some required kind of, you can mention required in schema, but right now it's not there, so I can take only tank for sorry, I can take only the size, and I can create instance of that model in small, and when I do the small dot save, it basically gives us the callback function with the error object. If there is error, then we can handle that error, and if there is no error, then at that time the document gets saved in the database, in that collection, in this collection, in tank collection, it gets saved. Okay, so the instance of that schema will be your document, right? Also we can do the same using create as well. So for create, we directly pass the schema object, and it gives us the error callback as well as the document. And so there are two ways to save the document, using save and using create, using mongoose, right? How we connect? If it is localhost without any security like username and password, then we simply connect using like this, the localhost comma database name. Okay, how we just saw about this, we don't get want to get into that much. Like we can find with we can add condition like this, don't look at this right now. We can find all small tanks, right? Similarly, we can remove all tanks having size large. This way we can remove. While update as well, they have find one and update, they we can do using many methods the updates. Let's look into our code how we are going to handle that. Okay, so let's suppose if someone is going to send me the post request with this URL or with this route, I will I will call this I will call this module instance that products.create. I'll call this create property of products. Okay, and from where we have taken this, from this file product.js, and in product we are having, we have defined here, just want, in products we have defined the products variable as an object, and in that object I have defined the functions. So I'll call this function, let's suppose I'll call this create function. Okay, as this function router dot post, this is my middleware. I'm passing this middleware control to this function. That's why this function will have the same parameters as we do have for middlewares, right? Request and response, and in request we get all data that client is going to send. So let's assume client is going to send us the name and price, two fields in JSON format. Then we can do simply like this: request.body.name is equal to product.name, and product is the instance of my product model which is defined, I have defined in models inside of product. The same way that we did, like require mongoose, then mongoose.schema, I taken this, then new schema with this schema, the name as string, price as string, and I'm exporting this model. Okay, I'm exporting this model with this schema, so that way whenever I will require, I'll inject I'll inject this file anywhere, there I will get the this model, right? So this contains my model instance. The same way they are doing, we have just distributed that code into separate files. They have created the schema, then they have defined the model as a tank, and they are doing like tank.save, and they are passing the schema object, right? Now here create, we have created the new instance like this. They are creating for the, they are creating the instance of this tank model as a new instance with the size small. The same thing we are doing here, but we are not adding properties right here. We are doing that later, like one by one. Product name is equal to the name which is coming from the client and the price coming from the client, and then we are directly doing the product dot save, right? This will save my document in which collection? In models, what we have written here as a product, and mongoose automatically make that as a products, because it is going to have the multiple documents there, right? So let's try and hit that. My URL will be the same. Let me close this. Okay, Okay, so this is my URL, my API slash product, right? And in routes, for this route, my API slash product, if the method is post, then call this function, and in that function, what we are doing, we are creating the instance of our model, right, the schema model, and we are assigning the values, and then we are saving that. So let's send this data. As we are doing the body.parser, body parser.json, it expects the data to be in JSON format. So let's add something different, like what we can add, something jacket worth 3000 and send. Okay, we have received the status as success message, document added successfully, and docs is empty with the status code as 200, that is okay. How it happened, basically that request came from here, right here, then it went through routes. In routes, it got captured here in products create, then it goes to the products. These products, basically we have defined these products in controllers folder in products.js right here, and there is a function, this function, in these products there is a function, that create function is here, which accepts parameter as request and response. After saving, we are sending the status as 200 with status message as success and document added successfully and docs as empty. Okay, if there is going to be error, there is something error with the our server, not with the client. That's why we are giving 500, that is internal server errors, right? So this is how it gets executed, right? So now let's understand all these functions one by one. For to get all documents from our collection, what we will do, on our model we will find the documents, but in as a condition I am not giving any condition here, so that's why it's going to return me back all the documents in this callback parameter, that is docs, and I'm passing this docs to the docs property of JSON, which I'm sending back to the client, right? Similarly, if I wanted to get one record, I can do that using find one, as well as I can do that using find by ID. Okay, there we just need to in find by ID we just need to pass the ID of the document that we can expect in the URL. If we check the route for get one right here, that is the request method is get, and my API slash product slash ID. This is how we define the URL parameters. Okay, and those are accessible to me in request.parameters.id. This ID should be same as what we define here, the name to that parameter. That's okay. On successful retrieval, we don't get any error, and we get the document, and that document we are sending back to the client, right? So we done with the get all, get one, create. Similarly, the delete operation or the remove operation is very simple. What we do there, the same way we expect the parameter as a document ID, and we do the model dot remove, and we pass the condition I want to remove document having this id which I received in the url, and on success it will it doesn't basically returns me anything. Let's cross check that. So on remove, it's just a single argument that we get. We don't get anything here. If it is going to be a error, then we'll send that error to the client right here, correct? And otherwise we'll say document deleted successfully. Okay, and this all functions I defined in this products variable, and I'm exporting that products object, so that's why it becomes available here, correct? The same way we do for config, we do everywhere. Okay, so now if these are the cases, like if my API slash products, there is yes, because this is going to return me all documents, that's why products. And if it is single, then it's product slash id. If without id and with this route I'm giving the post request, then that should be request for the product create. For update, I'm using the request method as put. Okay, and there as well we expect the id which document you want to update, as well as data, right, what to update. Similarly for delete, I am expecting the id and request method as delete, so I'll call this function. Right now let's check the code for the update, how they write. Okay, initially we find that document using find by id, the same we did for get one. We get the document, the same thing we are doing here as well. If I get the error while finding the document, then I'll say document database error, and I'll return that error to the client. Otherwise I will override the properties of document with the data that is sent to me by client, and I'll save that document. Okay, on successful saving the document, I'll send response as 200 with the success message. That's it. Okay, now we should be good to run all our APIs. We just saw our create API is running. For get products, we have get request method right here. You can change request method from here. The URL is my API products. In headers, we are passing content type application JSON. For create, it's very important, the data we are passing, that is in JSON format. That's why in headers we are sending the information for server that how I am passing the data, what is format of my data, right? So if I do the get products, I get all products, status success, message success. In docs there is an array of all documents, right? We are having these three. Let's just copy this id of watch, and in get one let's put that id. Okay, and let's hit using get. I received that document. Even for single record, maybe we can change the variable name, as instead of docs, let's say the doc, because it's going to have the single document. Okay, perfect. While update, the similarly the request method will be the put, we change from here, and the id will be the same. I want to update the record document of my watch. I want to make that watch to be like maybe fast track watch, okay, and price will be the less 1500. Document updated successfully. Now let's do the get one and let's see it got updated. Even we can cross check that from our Mongo booster, which is the client of MongoDB, right? Here I can see fast track watch with the price 1500. It got updated successfully. Now we are left with only delete, that is remove. So for delete, actually we don't need to pass anything, because we are passing id through URL. And let's change that id, and now it should remove our fast track watch document. Let's hit this document deleted successfully. Let's do the get all documents. Now it's only having 2 documents here. So this way we have built our all CRUD APIs which can be consumed by any application, whether it's your mobile application, or whether it's your web application running through jQuery or simple JavaScript or AngularJS. We can use these APIs, right? Okay. So let's build this. Now our APIs are ready. Let's build the client web application which will perform this CRUD operations. Okay. For that, I'm having the simple environment or the folder schema. Let's have look at our folder structure, how we defined. Okay, so in config we are maintaining our configuration part like port number or database name. Yeah, then let's have look at the config file. So in config.js we are maintaining the port and the site URL. This is not useful for now. Let's remove that. The host name and the port of the database, which is for MongoDB, it is always by default 27017. Okay, username password by default those are not required. If you explicitly set up the users for the database, then only you will need that. Okay, this is my database name, and connection string will be the MongoDB / the host name and then the port / database name. This is the connection string. We just now saw in Mongoose how to connect with the database like this. The MongoDB localhost port number, the port and the database name, correct? And we exported this config to our server.js. Here we included that config, and while connecting with the database we are using that URL directly. So every time if I want to change the configuration, I can do that from config file, right? Then controllers. So in controllers we have this products.js file which contains the products object, which contains the all functions those are required for our CRUD: create, get all, create, all this. And then the next folder is the for models. There we store our mongoose models, which defines our schema for the database, right? Then the next folder is the node modules. This is get created automatically when we install the node modules using npm install. Now in this application we require express, body parser, mongoose. When you try this application at your end, you need to install that using npm install express hyphen save. That will make entry in your package.json. That file is not here. Yeah, it's there, sorry, but I don't know whether I added that. Yeah, it's there. Chalk we are not using that. JWT we are not using. Yeah, node. Okay, so body parser, express and mongoose is there as a dependency, right? So you need to install those. Let's suppose when you want to transfer this application to different machine, then it is not required to have this folder. We can delete this folder and you can just make copy of this folder and you can move to your other machine, and there what you can do, you just need to do the npm install without any module name that installs all the dependencies. Those are mentioned in your package.json. So let's do that. I guess we messed up with the package.json file just now. I don't think this is okay. So it installed all the dependencies. Now we should be good to run our application again. Because the size of that folder node modules is quite big, that's why it's not good to maintain the copy of that folder. Whenever you want, you can make that npm install, right? Okay, now let's start with the AngularJS side. For having for that I'm having a repository, the simple repository that we can use. I use that as a boilerplate for creating any Angular app, but that contains many things that may not be suitable for now. So let's just skip that repository and we'll use our existing application that we built in last session. Okay, that is our HTTP service. Now we'll make the copy of that and we'll say the Angular app. Okay, it's better to run your Angular app inside of your any HTTP server, but for the node application you can run that anywhere. Okay, so here, right here, the again for AngularJS as well, we should maintain the proper directory structure, and ideally how it should be, let's see. So we can have one folder saying the app, okay, then assets and or index.html. okay, we don't need this, we don't need this, we we don't need this. Okay, inside of app or maybe outside here we can create one file that says the so in Angular app we'll call it as app.js. Okay, so all configuration and the initialization part will maintain that here. Okay, and the for controllers, to have all controllers inside one single file, it's not good idea, right? We can make those as separate based on your functionality. Okay, so right now we are doing the CRUD for products. That's why we can create folder here as a products. Okay, and in that we will have this file as products.ctrl.js. okay, we'll need I guess if we want to do the CRUD we'll need three HTML files. So we'll create those simply like the okay, the default. Okay, or yeah, let's make that all products dot html, keep html. Okay, now then the add product dot html and the edit product dot html. Okay, so whenever in practical scenario you will be having more CRUDs and the more functionality, then for each functionality you can have the folders here and all the views and the controller of those functionality you can put inside of that folder, right? Okay, and assets will contain the images or the css. Okay, and the maybe some javascript or something if you want. Okay, so let's start with the our app. Right here our main file will be the index.html, right? What we do there, we use the we included these two scripts. Okay, and now we'll need to include our products controller as well, because will be having product or product controller.js. okay, let's rename that. Yeah, let it be products is quite meaningful. And also we are going to add some configuration part in app.js. okay, so right here we don't want Angular JS CRUD application using NodeJS API. Okay, and we don't want right now. Okay, so this is our container for our views, right? Let's make this formatted, and this style tag, I'll take that down. Okay, we know everything about this. Now let's copy the configuration that we did last time in app.js. What we did, we made the configurations like this. We initialized our application, right? And yeah, okay. So in otherwise we can make this as, let's do this as, okay, let's do this, and that will be my okay. So the default the default will make it as like this. We don't want that now, and this will be our all products.html, and our controller is the same, that is products ctrl, right?
Yes.
And whenever, let's first build this page. Okay, now we don't have that anything else right now. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, so we are done with our CRUD. Okay, now what we will do, we'll create this controller. How we do that? Now we take this app. Let's see if it works, because we are having this variable app inside of app.js, and we added that app.js before products controller, so it should be available for us as well, right? How do we define our controller? Like this, correct? Now the name of controller is products ctrl, and we always want to show the data when page loads, right? So that's why we'll call this http service all the time. Okay, the request will be the get, and the path will be, localhost 8080 slash my API slash products, correct? And when I'll receive that response, let's console that response first, then we'll see how to display that, correct? So we did all the configuration. Let's see whether it works. Right here our application name is the Angular app slash. Okay, so it's giving error that products control is not found because we didn't added the proper. Our index file is, where is our index file? It's here. We are adding that here, as well as app.js is next to index, that's why it it will work. This path is correct, but for products it should be app in products, correct? Now it should not give us the errors. All products.html, again that path we messed up in the configuration. It should be app slash products slash, correct? But for a controller, path is not required because we already included this file in this page, right? So we should be good. That product controller is available on this page. Okay, so we are quite good, correct? Application is now looking quite good. Let's make that quite fancy, add some colors. So color will be hash something random, and the font size will be, let's make it 20, not too much. Okay, this color is not so good. Let's try one more time. Let's start from here. Oh. Okay. Okay, now quite good. Okay, so this is our container. Sorry. And we received the data successfully, correct? In data object we are having docs, message, status, all the data that we sent, right? And this is the data, that headers and this is the default data that we receive basically. Okay, so inside data and response, it's like that. Our documents are in docs, data.docs. Let's try to display those. It's super easy, right? Let's add, why don't we add the bootstrap css to this application? That will make our application look so good, right? Let's add bootstrap css. Just don't worry about if you don't understand how the css work. It's super easy. Okay, let's find this cdn for that. Bootstrap css cdn, and right from here we'll copy this. Okay, let's it's not save page as, let's save that in the Angular app assets in css. Bootstrap means css. Okay, we can include that css anywhere. Let's include that here. Style, how do we include? And oh yeah, right, link type text css, right? and the href, correct? That will be our assets slash css slash angular app assets css bootstrap mean.css. Perfect. Now we are good to use bootstrap. Let's grab the template, simple template for bootstrap. Getting started. We'll use very simple, yeah, so we'll try to use this. They must be having many more things here. Let's not worry about that. What we can do, let's make by our own. Okay, so whenever we write bootstrap application, the first div should be the container. Okay, inside of that there should be the row. Okay, and this row is divided into 12 columns. So that will have the class called sm as 12. Okay, so this is basic structure of bootstrap. Okay, for the layout. And right here they are having a simple thing that they call it as a jumbotron which is very funny. It look like a very big thing, but it doesn't do much. It's just this much of thing they do have. And let's put that right here. Let's make the formatting that messed up or all stuff. Okay, so hello mean app. Okay, right here we don't want anything, we don't want button. Okay, now we need let's suppose we will have the p tag, and in p tag we'll say the list of products, my products, let's say my products. Okay, they are having some class for make the contents float on the right hand side. The class is pull right. Okay, and in that we'll add a button, simple button. They are having this classes btn success, btn something like that. We'll make this as a primary. Okay, and we'll say add product. Okay, after this we will be having table to display our products, and for to look good they are having this class as table. Okay, they add some styling by their own, and tr, then in very proper way t head, right? T head, then th, what we have, like let's suppose serial number. Okay, then the name of product, the name, and the price of product. And in this actions we'll have the actions for delete and edit. Okay, so in t body we'll have the same tr with the td, right? let me change this th to the td. Okay, and here our model will be there, right? So before doing that, let's have a look at our, this is static data I'm putting here. Right here there will be more buttons. Okay, probably let's add the links. Okay, let's make that, maybe buttons will look good. Okay, edit and the delete the classes for that. btn warning, this is the type kind of colors they are having. This 5 colors always everywhere for all, yeah, like this. The default look like this: the primary, success, info, warning and danger. So whenever we add this classes like btn primary, it is going to look like this. Okay, and also I want this button to be very small, so that's why I'll make that as btn access, the extra small, right? And let's copy this and add that for here and make that danger. Okay, let us see what happens. No, we are not so good, right? I guess the bootstrap css is not got loaded. What's the problem? Let's check. The bootstrap mean css, it's there. Why it's not working?
Link relation instead of HTML.
No, but this at least container and this.
Bootstrap.js file. Bootstrap.
Okay, so basically why it's not working, we only want css, we don't want any javascript functions of the bootstrap, so that's why I didn't add that. I just wanted to check the html is correct but css is not getting applied. What's the problem? Why it's not there? Maybe because of rely, they don't have this. Rely, what is this style sheet? Huh?
Yes. Style sheet.
Like this?
Yes.
Let's check now. Yes, we are so good, right? Let's add some extra thing, like at the top we want some margin. From here there is some margin, but from, correct, now I want some margin. And also this jumbotron thing is not looking so good, right? It's so big. Let's get rid of that. This div I'm deleting, which is after table. Okay, where is that or thing? Yeah, we deleted h1. H1 can be there. We just want to delete this div now. Okay, so we are quite good, not so much, but still we are quite good. Let's make that as class text as success. Let's see if they apply the color. Yeah, right. Let's make this mean as mean app. Okay, and for this let's change that to h2. Yes, it's not looking that good, but still it's fine, right? Okay, let's forget about the design now, and we'll add here HR. Okay, we'll add some background for our container. Style background hash f2 f2 f2. This is my favorite color. Yeah, that's the gray color, and with the margin top as 15 px, so that may look good. Okay, so whatever will be the content of my route, that has to be here. So where we want that content, right after this. Okay, I will make div for that, div, and I'll add their ng view attribute, and I'll close that div right here, and this content I'll put that inside of our all products HTML. Let's make this. Okay, and now let's remove this. So whatever will be the view of my route, okay, that will be placed right here after this heading h1, correct? Let's do. Okay, so we are quite good, but why all products are not shown? Let's investigate that. Why this HTML is not rendered in otherwise in products.controller? Do we have that? No. Why this is happening? Because previously my products.html was blank, and when I refreshed my console, my developer tools was not open, like this disable cache was not there. Maybe because of that. Let's see. No, yeah, that was the problem. So that's why whenever we do the development, it has to be open, so it saves our time. Okay, now we are getting the data inside data and docs. Let's assign that to the scope. Okay, the scope dot data, sorry, scope dot products is equal to response dot data dot docs, right? And right here I can put now ng repeat is equal to product in products, correct? I'll make this as product dot name. Similarly, I'll copy this and make this as product dot price. Now let's see. Yes, we got our two products displayed. Okay, so we are very much good with our flow, and it's looking awesome, right? Now there is problem with our serial numbers. So how to get that? Okay, how to get the index in ng in ng repeat, we can get that using $index. Okay, we can use like this $index. It gives us the index of that iteration, so we can simply use that $index. Let's see whether it works. Yeah, because this is the HTML, right? And if we want to display the data from the scope, we have to evaluate that using those curly braces. 0 1, so let's make that +1. Okay, if you look at the page while it loads, initially it loads this.
Then
After that, our controller gets executed, then it renders the view. Okay, now let's try for adding new product. Okay, for adding new product, what we'll do, we'll have that button right here. On ng click of that, we'll say add product. Okay, and in sorry, either we can do something like this, or else
directly into that page.
okay, here is the problem. We have to define the state for that, because we want the display to be different, the view has to be different. So we'll define the route for that here in when. Okay, and in template URL, I'll make that as add product. Okay, and controller I will use as the same. Here I'll just put add. Okay, for now. Now we need to mention that URL as well. How this is going to work. What we did, like in here app.js, we use like this. Okay, right, add. Okay, so to have that, we can simply say we can use href. This is simplest way to do that. Instead of writing a function and then redirecting, then doing all that stuff, we'll make is as this. Even if I add those classes, bootstrap classes for a, it displays that as a button, so we are quite good. Okay, and yeah, it's working now. It's just all about adding the form. How we add the forms in bootstrap form, let's just copy the simple form. Yeah, this is good, let's use that. This is my form, and now we are done with this. Right here, this is the form. Okay, I don't want password, I don't want checkbox, also I don't want this like this. For is not required. Let's minimize the code as much as possible, and this will be my product name. Okay, and ID is not required. Instead of that, I'll add I'll bind this input with my model, that will be the product, or directly just name. Okay, I'll copy this same for the price and mention this as a price. Correct? Now let's see whether this form is getting rendered properly. Yeah, the only thing that's there, it's touching to the border, right? And that button has to be with the color as primary, and also we should have another button that has to be, all buttons should be button, because we never wanted to submit the form. We are not giving any action to the form or nothing like that. And this will be my default button, that will say as a cancel. Okay, and on click of cancel, again I need to go back, right? So for that purpose I'll add href2 only hash, nothing. Okay, let's see whether it's working. Yeah, okay, perfect. Now our design is ready, and the name and price. Okay, okay, it's touching. Let me add some padding for this container. Padding bottom 20 px, so that way it will look good. Okay, like this. Now on click of this button, I want to submit the form. Correct? Sorry, I want to send this data to the API. We don't want to submit this form. There is nothing to submit. Okay, if I mention here as a button type as submit, then automatically whenever I will submit this form, how we submit the form, like if I hit this submit button and the type is submit, the form will get submitted. As well as when I will be there in any of this input and I press the enter key, the form gets submitted. Now on form submit, so what is directive for form submit? Ng submit. On ng submit, I want to call the function that is save product. Okay, and let's try that. Okay, and in this function I need to define that this add product.html is managed by products controller itself. So I will define that function right here as save function, and I don't want anything because all data is in scope. Let's make this http call right here, and let's do the formatting, and we want to send that as a post to the my product, and here we will need to send the data as well, right?
Yes.
And data is going to be the JSON,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I'll name, that will be my scope dot name, comma, the price dollar scope dot price. Okay, and console dot log. I'll make this as a response as to console. Okay, now let's add one console here dot saving product. Let's try and hit. Okay, so product will be pain, and pain comes in 100 rupees. Let me submit. I got the response as 200 that says document added successfully. Let's go back. The pen is got added, right? So it's super easy, correct? There is nothing as such. So by default, when control loads in, control starts executing controller, we are getting all products. We are assigning them to the yeah, products variable in the scope, and that is displayed here. So that's why whenever that controller executes, we get the fresh data, correct? Now we want to do the delete. Okay, so for delete as well, let's make the function first, as well as for, okay, let's call this as a edit product. Let's call this as a delete product, and while deleting I'll do the same, only the difference will be the method is going to be delete, correct? And right here we want to pass the product ID, correct? Will uh, okay, so that product ID, let's suppose, will accept that product ID from here. Okay, and this ID I'll add right here, and data we don't have to send the data. We'll add some, instead of console we'll add alerts there. And along with the console we'll add alerts as well. Alert response dot data dot message, correct? So whatever message they will send us, will directly send that to the client in alert. Okay, so for delete we are good. Let's try with the delete first. Okay, now right here in all products, we need to on click of this, we need to call that delete function. Ng click is equal to delete product, and it's expecting us the ID. Okay, when we do, I removed that console, I guess. Yeah, so when we get that data in documents, for each document we have that unique ID as well, underscore ID, right? We can use that for update and delete, and the same we are expecting right here in APIs, correct? In URL. So what we can do, we can pass that ID from HTML to the function. How we can access that? Product dot underscore ID. The same thing that we are going to do with the edit function as well, correct? right? Let's just change this edit. Okay, so let's check whether we are able to delete. Document deleted successfully, but we never refreshed this. Let's just refresh. It got deleted. Now we need to solve this problem, correct? So for that purpose, we'll have the function $scope dot load products, or display products, we'll say. Display we are not displaying, we are taking, right? Get products is equal to function, right? And this let's use this function right here and do this. Okay, and this function we can call while displaying the records. Now this function will not get called automatically, right? We need to call that. So before displaying this table, we will initialize ng init is equals to that function, right? And whenever we delete any record, we'll call that function. If it is success, we'll call that function that product is got deleted successfully, correct? Let's try and delete this. The get products is not defined. Why?
Okay. Scope dot get products. So response and request.
Okay, maybe mm, at my success products controller, line number 58, line number 58, what we have written? So it should be scope dot, correct?
Yes.
So that was the problem. Now we are good. We deleted all. Let's try and add shoes 2000. We are not redirecting. After saving, we are not redirecting. So we need to redirect. After save product. Now how to change the state of our application from controller, right? Let's search for that. Change the state in ng route from controllers. We are not using an UI router. As change the how to redirect ng route from controller. Okay, so there basically we can use this location service, right? Location dot path is right here. Okay, let it be anything, and the location, this service we need to integrate in, we need to inject that in controller, not in function, right? We know. Now we should be good. Let's add watch 5000, save document, add successfully. Now it works. Okay, we are left with edit only now. For edit, what we want, initially we will display. Okay, for edit we need to create the state first. Okay, so this as edit and edit product. Okay, and it is going to be same as the add, only the difference will be on submit it will call update product, and while loading this we want to have that record as well there. Let's suppose I do the edit document added successfully. Yeah, we just copied that edit function, we never changed, right? In edit product, okay, so in edit product we are going to accept the product ID, right? And that will make that as get request for product plus product ID. This should return us only single record. We don't want console here, and let's just see what happens. And after this, okay, let's just check. Okay, it's not redirecting because on edit what we are doing, in all products we are calling that function, and basically we want to change the URL first, right? And in that URL, then after, yeah, mm, let's try this. I'm not sure, but let's try this. Okay, the location dot path, right? The location dot path to the hash edit. Okay, let's redirect there, and we won't be able to maintain this information. We need to get that, right? So
you can add some variable and check ngFi there.
okay, let's do one thing right here. Okay, edit, why it's percentage edit, yeah, because of this. Yes, let's check now. Okay, still it's adding. I guess maybe like this. Yes, okay, so we want to load that record from there to here, correct? So it's basically we should have those as the separate controllers. Let's consider those are the separate controllers, because we will lose this record after redirection, right? This scope will be won't be there. If we check, if I do enter right here, it is not going to work. So we need to pass that into URL. That will make more sense, and then at this stage we'll load that document. And now our code is becoming quite more, so that's why what we will do, let's separate that out. Okay, let's make copies of this as, save as, we'll make this as a add product controller, as well as we'll create one more for edit product controller, and for this will be our for all products controller. Okay, now in all products we don't want this save, edit, delete will be required here, but save we don't need here, right? And in edit, we don't know what we need, but we know what we don't need. Let's remove that. Okay, we may need this like for updating. Okay, inside of edit controller, correct? Let's change this, edit product controller, right here, all product controller, and what was there, add, right here, add product controller, correct? And also we don't have to forget to include all those right here. So it will be all products, then edit product, it's edit product, and add product, correct? Okay, now let's change that setting in app.js. Right here for add we are going to use add product controller. For edit we are going to use edit product controller, and otherwise all products controller. Okay, so let's cross check one by one whether our all products controller is good enough. All products controller, yeah, get products we need, delete we need, and let's check that right here. Yes, there is a error that says all products controller not found. All products controller, correct? Now refresh. Okay, so we are good. Delete, it's working. Now about add, right? So for add product, In add product we don't need get all products, as well as we don't need this edit and delete. So this is pretty clean code, right? So in add test 100 save document added, yeah, so it's working. Now it's all about edit, and we need to investigate like how we are going to pass that in the URL, then edit product HTML. Okay, so right from all products HTML, this is sure that we don't want this as a parameter or function. We want that has to be here. nghref, do we have something like that? Because if it is not, then I may have to write something like this, which doesn't looks good for me. So let's search for that. Okay, so right here let's look for nghref. Yeah, it's there, we can use that nghref directive. How they are using, always whenever you cross check, whenever you cross check the documentation of AngularJS, you should be careful about the versions. Okay, yeah, they are passing like this nghref. Even the wrong way to write it like this, and the correct way is like this. Okay, nghref. And why these people are evaluating that value? We are already in the directive. I think there should not be the need to do that. No, there must be some errors. Edit product.id, no, it didn't work. I think so. Yeah, correct. So that's why. Okay, it didn't work. We have to use it like this only. Now we are having ID, correct? The object not found, that is 404. It's not matching anywhere. The edit, how in URL, how we are doing that, that hash we need to pass here. Edit. Okay, right here there is something wrong, maybe in edit HTML. What is there? It's loading the otherwise.
That's it. We need to change it around.
In for edit we need to add that parameter, right?
Yes.
That's not matching. So let's see how to do that. How to define parameters in ng route. Okay, so it is similar like node, correct? We'll call it as product ID. And now let's go ahead and see, yeah, and how to access that value will, so that is here state params with the same name that we used, correct? So ra, okay, so on load of, while loading this, what we will do, root params, correct? And let's fetch that value the same way we are doing right here. We'll do that here, not here, right here, yeah. Ng init is equals to get product, and that will be our product ID. Okay, we are having multiple ng inits. Okay, cool. We need to assign that to the scope from params dot, correct? And now we need to define that function. We'll copy it from the all products controller. This function will copy, will change that. Now in get it is product, and even why there is need to pass that variable,
Yes, yes.
right?
Directly quality.
We have already that variable in the scope.
Can also directly call the gate.
Yeah, even we can write this directly here, correct?
Yes.
Now we should be good. We should receive the single document, and we mentioned that as a doc,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And here we'll mention that as a product. Okay, and to initialize the values of our scope on right here, what we can do, let me show you the good way of doing it. For edit will change a little bit, okay? Yeah, so this is our success, this is, yeah, you're all good, right? We need one more function from the all products, that is not from add controller, that will be our update product. Okay, updating product. Now let it be like this only, and plus this is going to be our, but
We need to pass for function.
that's not required basically, but that may create problem. No, okay, let's use that. Okay, and now the change I'm trying to do, that is, in my product there will, this is the object, there will be product dot name, right? So I will, instead of doing like this, like scope dot name is equal to scope dot product dot name, right? Instead of doing like this, what I will do, I'll change my model. I'll make that as product dot name, and similarly for the price, correct?
Yes.
So that way whenever we'll receive the product, it will be there. And now the product itself, it is an object, so we don't have to, when we'll do the update, right,
Yes.
we don't have to do like this. We can directly, or what you will suggest me, probably like this. Instead of doing that, let's kill this entire thing and pass them the scope dot product. That's it, right?
Yes.
This is very easy, right, to handle. This is the better way of doing, how to define your model. Now we should be good with everything. Let's see how it is. Update product, everything is there. Yeah. Oh no.